Datura, first off, never do it. One seed can be 20 times stronger than another. You can end up with a dry mouth or in a mental institution. This is one user's experience with this terrifying plant. I was visiting a friend in Oregon. He had a house really deep in the woods. I had to hike for 3 hours just to reach it, since I didn't have a dirt bike. When I reached the house, more like a log cabin actually, I found it to be quaint. He had a generator in the basement which powered the cabin and a small fridge. The place was so remote I had no idea how he got everything out there into the woods, and I still don't, but we ended up having frozen pizza for dinner. He told me that he had some Jameson weed. We divided it up between us and ingested it. We felt pretty good for about an hour, then things started getting trippy. The walls were breathing, objects seemed to be moving around, but after an hour of this, things started to get messed up. The room was lit up by a small yellow light. I was soon scared of the light. It made me uneasy to look at. Soon it started burning my eyes. I closed them, but it was still there, burning me. My friend told me, this must have been some shitty product, right? But his voice sounded like a demon, and he wouldn't stop talking. I couldn't hear the words he was saying anymore, but his demonic voice grew louder and louder. It was inside my head. I was crying because the light hurt so bad. I tried running out of the house, but perspective started violently shifting. I couldn't tell how tall I was, how big anything was, or how far away it was. I stumbled outside, vomited all over myself. I couldn't even tell I was vomiting until I smelt it. I ran into the forest. My eyes were burning. They hurt so bad. I jumped into a stream and started splashing water on them. But I noticed something was moving in the water. Little parasitic worms. They started jumping up out of the water and burrowing into my skin, into my eyes. I felt them swimming around inside my body. I ran deeper into the woods. My perspective was shifting so violently that I kept running into trees. I had a giant gash on my forehead. I felt blood coming out. I saw a giant worm come out. So I started bashing my head against the tree as hard as I could to kill the worm, but it wouldn't die. I hit my head so hard that I fell to the ground with a concussion, and on the ground I saw an extremely bright light floating through the woods. A demon with a flashlight started talking to me with his demonic voice. I can't remember anything else after this. I ended up waking up 10 days later in my friend's guest bedroom. I stayed at his house a few more days, then went home. So I'd passed out for 10 days, but what had happened in those 10 days? According to my friend, after an hour of looking for me, he found me in the woods about 1/8 of a mile away from his cabin. He had to carry me back home. I started smearing the blood from my forehead and drawing pictures on the wall. He had to tie me to the bed frame with my head facing down, hanging over the edge so when I vomited it would be in a bucket. I was constantly screaming and babbling nonsense. I wouldn't eat for the next few days. I shit myself twice, pissed everywhere, then went into a sort of coma where I woke up a few days later. When I woke up, I took a shower, helped clean up my poor friend's cabin, then went back to sleep, all of which I have no recollection of. Stay the hell away from Datura.